The winner of The Voice is... Alisan Porter, Team Christina! You won it! Congratulations! Big hand to Adam Wakefield and all 4 of our finalists and Coach Christina Aguilera, our first female coach, victor here on The Voice.
Hello, hello.
What's up?
That scream was so epic.
It was real, man. I was really scared of the fireworks, too. There was, like, pyro behind me, so I was screaming, and I was screaming at that. It was intense.
And then I guess when Christina Aguilera is running at you, I would scream too.
It was
So
awesome.
take us back to that moment and describe the feeling. I mean, this has been weeks of competition, months probably. Yeah. So what did it feel like in that moment when your name was announced?
I was in shock. I was really, really shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was preparing myself all day for being runner-up. I was a runner-up in like a really important dance competition when I was young. I was first runner-up, so I was like, I'm just supposed to be first runner-up, like forever. I really did not think I was gonna win, and Adam was killing it, you know, every single week as well. And, you know, we had hoped that it would be the two of us just because, you know, we're older. But, oh man, it was just so shocking. I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it. Every time I watch it, it's like, what? How did that happen?
And you also gave Christina Aguilera her first win, and the first time a female coach has won The Voice.
That's right.
It's pretty awesome.
So awesome. She's so awesome. She deserves it. She's been there since day one, and I was honestly like just as excited that she won. Like as you know, I was just as excited for her as I was for myself.
And they put this one girl against these 3 guys, so.
I know, the odds are always stacked against her, but we did it.
But next season, I hear Miley Cyrus and Alicia Keys are going to be there, so it'll be 2 against 2. So hopefully we'll have more female coaches taking the W.
I hope so.
Tell us about working with Christina and what's some behind-the-scenes things we don't know, because we see Xtina as the pop star.
She's just amazing. I mean, we really bonded after our group number with like the whole team, Christina, and then slowly but surely, like we just kept getting closer and closer each week, and we kind of started working more and more together. Like you get your coach's email at some point, and after that, I was like, well, I'll email and see if she responds, and she like responded back this like novel, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, and then after that, we just started getting closer and closer, and then we actually recorded You've Got a Friend, our duet for a finale at her house, and it was just the 2 of us and her engineer. We were like laying on the floor in pajamas, and I was like hanging out with her dogs. And it was like the first time I was in a house for so long, and of course our house is insane. So I was like so comfortable, and she kept throwing blankets at me. I was like, I'm good, you know? But we just kept getting more and more comfortable with each other, and she's just was such a nurturing mentor throughout this whole process, and she really let me follow my heart and do what I wanted to do, and she trusted me, and I trusted her, so it was just an awesome relationship from the start.
So what was a life like in a week for a Voice contestant? Like, how did your week go after the live show?
Yeah.
You know, what did you guys do for the next few days? Because I'm sure you're just rehearsing, practicing, meeting with your coach.
Yeah, basically you start, you know, Monday you have a show, Tuesday you have results, and then Tuesday night or Wednesday morning you get your song for the next week. And then you go on Wednesday right into rehearsal with your coach. So sometimes, like Blake likes to shoot for the next week on Tuesday night after results. So if you make it through, you get your song and you go right to rehearsal for the next week. And then it's just, you know, the same thing each week. You record iTunes, you go to wardrobe, you have interviews, you have B-roll, you have stage rehearsal, then you have actual like dress rehearsal, voice lessons. It's really full, and it's the same each week. So you kind of get used to like the hamster wheel of The Voice. You know, you do Monday, Tuesday, and you just go around in your schedule. But then, if you make it to the Final 4, it's
Wild.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I don't think I've had more of than like I slept on the plane. That's about it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Like wired.
It's like having a newborn again.
And when you look back, which performance of yours was your favorite or perhaps the toughest and one that you're most proud of?
I think my favorite, I don't know, it's a toss-up between Let 'Em Fly and Desperado. Let 'Em Fly was the most important song to me that I sang on the show, but Desperado, just overall, like the stage, the way it looked with all the roses and the wardrobe, everything just was so beautiful, and I was so honored to be able to sing that song because no one had ever been able to get it cleared before. And Christina's manager manages the Eagles, and within like 2 minutes, when I said that that's the song I wanted to sing, she was like, got on the phone, made a phone call for 3 seconds, and then hung up and was like, you can do it. And I was just blown away. So that, I think, is that, and then Somewhere, I kind of, after I did Somewhere in the finale, I got to close the show, and after that I was like, you know what, no matter what happens, like, I've really covered everything I wanted to do this whole time, and I was so emotional after Somewhere. I couldn't believe that it was over and that I had been able to sing all these songs and have all these performances in front of millions of people, and it's totally a dream come true.
And the first week that we met you was on the blind auditions, of course, and I hope everyone remembers Blue Bayou because it was like the standout performance. And then we learned your backstory, which is that you were a child actor and you were Curly Sue. It's so wild.
So weird,
I'm
right?
sure all of you guys know Curly Sue, and you should if you don't. So tell me about that moment when you decided you wanted to audition for The Voice and kind of come back and be the singer that you always wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of retired in my mind, and I was like, okay, I'll just make music for myself and play gigs here and there. And I was driving to a gig, and my husband was like, you know, maybe you just need to go for it and like try out for The Voice. And I was like, I'm never gonna do that. Like, they're never gonna take me seriously. Everybody's gonna think that I would just, you know, like, it was weird coming in as someone who had been in the business before, because I can understand how people would be like, oh, she already had her chance, you know, like what the haters say. Like, I get it, haters, I get it. But at the same time, I had been trying to be a singer for a decade. So for me, it was like, you know, if I get this one shot, I'm gonna take it. And on the way to this gig, my husband and I were talking about it, and then I got to the gig, and my girlfriend was like, by the way, I gave your number to The Voice people because my friend was asking, she's the casting director, and she was asking for, you know, if we knew anybody who wanted to audition, because, you know, there's different ways to audition for the show. Anyway, like literally the next week I went in and had my first audition, and then it was one thing after another, and before I knew it, I was headed to blinds, which is actually a pretty long process, and it was the first time I was ever away from my kids. I was totally freaked out. I was like, I don't want to do this, never mind. But I'm glad that I did. I walked through a lot of fears, and I won.
I mean, I guess they really make you go through the ringer with auditions before you reach the celebrity coaches, correct?
It's not too crazy. I mean, obviously they need to see you and screen you and make sure you're not crazy and all of those things. But it's pretty quick before, and then you have a long process during blinds. Like you kind of get acclimated to what it's going to be like if you do stay, and that sort of process happens more and more because we had blinds, and then we had, I think, the holidays off, and then we did knockouts and battles. And then we had a little more time off, and then you start live shows. So you're kind of slowly but surely just becoming like voiced. And then you're in it to win it for live shows, and it's just a crazy whirlwind.
So when all those chairs turned around for you, did you have in mind a different coach before choosing Christina, or did you know Christina was your girl?
No, I totally didn't. I was petrified of her. I was like, I won't be able to sing. I won't be able to be myself. Like, I was nervous that I admired her so much growing up, and I would like sing in my car to all her, you know, music and try to harmonize with her. And so I really thought I was going to choose Pharrell. I love Pharrell. I love what he says. I love what he stands for. He's such like a sage. You know, he's like a mini Buddha. So I really thought that if he turned for me, that he would be the person that I chose. And then he did turn for me, and it was like the hardest thing ever to say no to him because I love him.
And they all whip out like the best
Yeah.
compliments to kind of, they want to fight.
And it
for
was
you.
like torture the whole time. Like, he called me a unicorn. He called me a phoenix that like rose from the ashes. And I was like, you're killing me, Pharrell. Like, I'm sorry. But there's something that happened when she turned around. I was like, this is a mother. We're the same age. We kind of like came up in the business. we both have a boy and a girl. She's doing everything that I want to do as a mother and an artist, and how can I not have this person as my mentor? So as soon as she turned around, I was like, okay, girl, let's go.
Let's do it. And in that moment for the blind auditions, you had opened up a little bit about your past and your struggle with addiction and how you became a mother. Sort of discuss that and how this journey has sort of even improved that even more in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I had written a blog. I have a mommy blog called Little Mamas, and I had written a blog about sobriety and the business and all this stuff. I don't know, maybe 6 months before I auditioned. So I knew that it was going to come out at some point if I made it on the show, and I just felt like it was such an important part of why I was there. I don't think I ever would have. I know I never would have made it here had I not, changed my life. So to be open about my sobriety was scary, but at the same time, I knew I had to. And it was important to me if I was going to be on a platform like The Voice, to talk about it, because I think it's important because so many people, are struggling. And if I could help one person, then that would have been enough for me. So yeah, I talked about it, and it's a huge part of why I'm so grateful to be where I am today and why I did take the risk, because I felt like I got a second chance at life, and it was my duty to kind of hang on and go for it and take advantage of this new path I was given. So it definitely helps me appreciate where I am right now way more.
Well, we're proud of you.
Thank you.
And it was very great of you to share your story for everybody watching. And you gave up so much when you became a mother that you want to still be a mother, but you want to also follow your dreams. Sort of talk about balancing that now with the show and having your 2 young kids. Did they really understand what was going on? And
they do. They're really in it. They're they were, I don't know, I was holding my daughter after I won, and she was yelling, "Go, mommy, go, mommy." It was so cute. And they were just so excited. They loved the confetti. They were all about the confetti. I actually swallowed a piece of confetti right before I had to sing. So I was like, I can't sing. And then I was like, I really can't sing. It's been tough. I had never been away from them overnight even, maybe once in their whole lives before I started this. And then I was gone for months. So I saw them as much as I could, and I would explain to them every time, this is just temporary, mommy's gonna be home, And of course now I'm in New York, and they're like, where the heck are you? But, I did this for them. I just feel like as a parent, you can only say so much, You have to lead by example, and I think that it's so important for moms, especially, to not lose their identity when they become mothers, because it's very easy to just go into mom zone and never come out of it. And it can be lonely and exhausting, and nobody really, my husband gets it now, though. Now he's like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm like, I know, right? Yeah, so he totally became Mr. Mom, and he's been incredible, and my parents and my grandparents and everybody who's kind of just taken on the role. And the kids are great, and FaceTime with them all the time and see them as much as possible. And I'll be home this weekend, and then I'm back to living at home and being semi-normal for a while.
Which would be a weird transition.
It's totally gonna be so. I haven't slept in a bed with my husband in 3 months. I've had my own hotel bed every night. I'm like, yeah, no snoring. No. No, it'll be great to be home. I've missed cooking and driving myself and all those things that, we're sequestered in a hotel. So basically everything's being done for us.
And what do you hope your journey on the show will teach other moms, following their own careers?
It's really scary because there's always that mom guilt. You want to do things for yourself, but at the same time, you have these children to, be of service to them and just be their moms and raise them. But there's a balance, and I think if you can find that balance and you can trust that it's the right thing for you to follow your own dreams and at the same time, raise these awesome kids, I think it teaches them that, it's possible to do both, and probably better for your relationship with them in the long run, because I'm much happier now. I feel like I got my groove back, and I'm doing what I've always wanted to do. So how cool is that, to have someone raising you who's happy and content and did what they knew they were meant to do in life? So I think, that's what I would always stress to them.
And did you ever sing for them at home? Do they have favorite songs?
They don't
that
let me.
want?
They're like, "Mommy, stop singing." My daughter is amazing. She's like already pitch perfect. It's crazy. So I think I'm gonna maybe have like a very short career, and then as soon as she can take over, she will. And my son wants to play the drums. He asked for a drum set for his 4th birthday, so we're getting the band going. You know?
Do you ever get nervous that your kids want to be in the industry, being a child actor yourself?
Yeah, because they're really like, their personalities are kind of huge, and I'm like, oh man, like you're so cute, you really should, like I get it. I'm like, you should be in commercials. Like, look how cute you are. And yeah. But I don't know, I asked to be in the business. I really wanted to be on TV, like from such a young age. So I don't, I think my parents, the only reason they put me in the industry was because I begged. I really wanted to be in commercials and be in the industry. So I guess I would have to see, like, if they really wanted it, I would consider it. But I don't know. Right now, they're just happy playing with their mini kitchens and fake cars, stuff like that.
What was that like for you when you first got into the business as a child star? Did you go out for the role of Curly Sue first, or had you kind of been doing stuff before?
I actually started auditioning for commercials when I was like 3 years old. So Curly Sue was actually the end of my first career. And I was super tired after that, and I was kind of over it. I wanted to be a regular kid. I went to high school in Connecticut and did a bunch of theater, and then came to New York and did some Broadway shows and stuff, but never really went back into the acting side of the business because my passion was always singing. So if I was singing, I was happy, and anything else was kind of always like a struggle after a certain age, and I was like, I don't like this anymore. So, yeah.
Do you think acting's like totally a thing of the past, or could you see yourself kind of dabbling in it again?
I would never like swear it off forever. I know that like I'm not comfortable acting as an adult like I was when I was a kid. I'm very comfortable singing, and I feel like confident, and I know like where I'm at with that. And with acting, I think it's just a different thing for me. I don't know. I would never like say no, never again, because if it was the right role and maybe a musical movie or something like that, of course I would love to. But definitely going to focus on music for now.
Yeah. When did you first know that singing was your thing? Because I mean, your voice is out of control, as we all know. It's crazy good.
Thank you.
When did you know that singing could possibly be another opportunity for you?
I think, well, the first thing really that I did like mainstream was Star Search when I was 5 years old. And my mom always says that I was like 9 months old singing in the crib. So I think it was, my dad is a musician, my mom is a singer, so it was definitely in my gene pool. But I think, yeah, really always, like, I was always singing.
And so what are your hopes now? Are you gonna do a new album? And what kind of genre do you kind of want to stick to?
I think it's going to be, yes, I want to make an album as soon as possible. And I think that, I've gone through so much in this process, and I've learned so much about myself, and I was able to kind of explore all different genres during The Voice. But I think I always stayed true to me, and I think it'll be really interesting to write a record. I have so many stories I want to tell, and so many things now that have happened that I can write about. And I really want to use everything that I sort of did on the show as a template for what is Alisan album gonna sound like? And I think just right now I want to focus on writing songs and kind of put the puzzle together. I don't want to put myself in any kind of slot. I've waited too long for this, and I think that the music will speak for itself, and it'll sit where it's supposed to sit.
Exactly, and you shouldn't rush it, because that way you don't really do what you want to do. It kind of feels forced.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in the industry you really look up to whose music has touched you?
I mean, I love Adele. I think she's timeless. Her music is ageless, which is important for me because I'm not gonna like strut around in booty shorts forever. I got to do it a little bit on the show, but let's be real, it's not gonna last forever. I love Adele. I love Grace Potter. I love Rachel Platt, and I love her music, like what her music stands for. She always has a really great message in her songs. So yeah, and I of course love the 60s and 70s and the Fleetwood Macs and the harmonies and all that stuff. So we'll see. We'll blend all of that together and see what we come up with.
And you wrote your single, right?
Yeah, I did.
What's the writing process like for you? Does it kind of just flow, or are you sitting there my God?
No, this Down That Road happened in like literally 3 minutes. So I was kind of sifting through old songs and seeing if I wanted to re-release something from my album Who We Are, And then my friend Eli said, hey, I wrote you a track. You know, it's kind of like Bonnie Raitt, Patty Griffin. I was like, great, perfect, send it to me. He sent it to me. I listened to it once before bed. This was the week of the finale, mind you. So I was learning 5 songs and, you know, going through the insanity of finale week and trying. I was like, I have to write my single. I can't let someone else write my single. And they were sending songs, and it was kind of this crazy, it was crazy. And I woke up in the morning with the hook in my head, and I was like, thank you, God, you did it. And I literally was like in the tub writing, texting my friend Ilse, who helped me write. She was in France, so we were texting back and forth lyric ideas, and I was sending her voice notes, and she was sending them back to me, and we were FaceTiming. It was the weirdest. I was literally recording like somewhere and whatever else we were recording for finale week, and at the same time like checking my phone and writing down that road. And then I like the next morning, I think it was like on Wednesday, I made a demo of it, sent it to Christina, sent it to the producers, and they were like, this is it, this is perfect. And then the day after results show, when I knew I went through, the full band was in the studio like the next minute. Crazy. And I went in and recorded it. So it was an insane process.
It's a great song.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
And before I pass it off to you guys, what do you think makes The Voice so special, you know, with American Idol going off the air, and there's so many singing competition shows? Why does The Voice kind of stand out?
You know, I think my biggest fear going in was that they were going to kind of, you know, force me into a certain box, and that they weren't going to give me artistic freedom, and, you know, that it was just a TV show. And really, I couldn't have been more wrong. Like, I was able to do everything I wanted to do on the show within reason, from what I wore to what I sang to what I said. I mean, of course, they're making a show, but the way that they do it and the people behind the scenes at The Voice are incredible. And I was just given this stage to kind of be myself. Excuse me. And I think that's the coolest thing about the show. I mean, other than the fact that you get a celebrity coach who knows everything about the business that you want to know, and just the people behind the scenes really do facilitate your inner artist. And that is, I don't think that really, you're not just singing cover songs. You're like, this means something to me because of this. And you get this whole story and through line throughout the show that really like is you. It's so genuine and authentic. And that was very important to me going into this.
And a lot of singing, man. You guys sing so much.
A lot of
so
singing.
Tired.
Never sang so much in my life.
So guys, if you have questions, let's share them.
Hi.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Did you have any pre-performance rituals before the show?
Okay, so I always eat a bagel and a banana in the morning. But on The Voice, there's this crack bacon from craft service. And I don't usually eat meat, but there's like this crispy bacon doused in maple syrup and pepper. And it like sounds gross, but it's the best thing ever. So I would always have to have the cracked bacon if it was there.
You gotta fuel up.
Hi, thank you for coming in. So I know you have some future plans with a record and talking about touring. Is there a particular place of like traveling that, you know, if you would love to go to, where would that be? And certain activities like you do on your downtime, now that you've been so busy, do you have like plans for just to relax and enjoy a little life?
I would like to just sit on a beach somewhere. That sounds really good. I live kind of close to Malibu, so I'm just like very excited to get home and go sit on the sand and just kind of like thank the universe for where I'm at right now and just take a minute to breathe. But honestly, all I want to do right now is work. Like, I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and I don't want to take my foot off the gas, you know?
Very smart.
Hi, Alisan, congratulations. Did Jennifer Neville's giving advice for you after seeing the duet?
She just inspired me so much. I mean, her voice is incredible. She was so kind. And I think the coolest thing is that any person of, you know, like any celebrity that I got to meet or work with, everybody was so down to earth and so cool. So I think it just goes to show that, you know, there are good people that are famous out there. Like Pink, for example, she was incredible. I learned so much just from being in the same room as her. She's awesome.
Hi, congratulations.
Thank you.
From the first note when you sang Blue Bayou, you had me hooked, and I really thought that you would win. So my question is, why did you pick Blue Bayou? And did you ever hear anything from Linda Ronstadt after you sang it, or from anybody in her camp?
I did actually, yeah. An old friend is one of her best friends, and she had played it for her, and she sent a note over saying how beautiful she thought that it was, which was amazing. And I chose that song because I think it's a great blend of pop and kind of folk and a little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll, all these things that I kind of wanted to embody. And I just think, for me, it's always about the melody and the story, and I wanted to connect to a lyric, and I wanted to be able to sing, you know, at my full potential, because this was my one shot. So it's funny because I had a bunch of songs before Blue Bayou, because you make like a long list of songs that you would want to sing if you make it through. And I think Blue Bayou was like third or fourth. So when we were talking about what song, the producer actually is the one that brought it up, and he was like, "Will you put Blue Bayou on your list? What about that?" And I went, "Yeah, like yes, let's do that." You know. So I think The Voice for me was like a whole bunch of God shots. I don't know. I believe so strongly in like the universe just being like, pow, pow, pow. And the whole journey at The Voice was like that for me. So I kind of just followed. I kind of surrendered and just let the universe take over, and the universe did a damn good job.
Good job. Well, thank you so much for being here. We
Thank
can't
you,
wait for your new
guys.
music. Thank you, guys. Awesome.